Hi, I'm Paige Grant. Today I'm doing my speech on global warming and animals. I am doing my speech in front of my mom and my stepdad and my dog. Over the past 50 years, the average global temperature has increased at the fastest rate in recorded history. Experts see the trend accelerating. All but one of the 16 hottest years in NASA's 134-year record have occurred since 2000. Global warming occurs when carbon dioxide and other pollutants and greenhouse gases collect in the atmosphere and absorb sunlight and solar radiation that have bounced off the Earth's surface. I believe that global warming is posing an immediate threat to animals' well-being and habitats all over this planet. Sea levels are rising with the rising temperature of the ocean. More droughts are happening, and countless wildfires are tearing through forests at frightening rates. Probably one of the most damaging parts of global warming is the damage to habitats of animals. Habitat disruptions are often due to changes in temperature and water availability, which affect the native vegetation the animals feed on. Affected wildlife populations can sometimes move into new spaces and continue to thrive, but concurrent human population growth means that many land areas that might be suitable for such refuge wildlife are fragmented and already cluttered with residential and industrial development. One of the most well-known habitats that are hurting one of the biggest land animals are polar bears. Climate change is heating up the Arctic faster than anywhere else, and sea ice is shrinking 14% per decade. Even today, in the middle of the bitter cold Arctic winter, satellites show there is about 770,000 square miles less sea ice than in 1981. That's larger than Alaska and California combined. Polar bears are going out to hunt when the ice is hard, and it's okay for them to be on it. But because of rapid melting of ice that is happening, they are getting stuck in the middle of hundreds of miles of ice surrounded by water, slowly drowning and starving to death. The melting ice is not just affecting the polar bears. According to the Defenders of Wildlife, some of the wildlife species hardest hit by global warming include caribou, Arctic foxes, penguins, gray wolves, tree swallows, painted turtles, and salmon. African elephants are among large mammals that are at risk when it comes to global warming. An increasingly limited dispersal ability due to habitat fragmentation, coupled with long generation time and moderate amount of genetic variation, may limit the availability of species to adapt to changing climate. But the biggest threat to these animals is their need for large amounts of water. Sadly, with the rising temperatures, there are more and more droughts, causing a massive threat to the African elephant. The African cheetah is the world's fastest animal, but is racing against its near-threatened status of face of climate change. In some areas, the cheetah's prey populations are declining, and as a result, the cheetahs have to change their diets. Giant panda bears feed exclusively on bamboo, but unfortunately, climate change is causing a major wipeout of bamboo in their natural habitat in China. Apart from being the bear's staple diet, bamboo also provides them with shelter from the elements. Adelie penguins are these birds, live in Antarctic and feed on krill found under ice sheets. As the ice melts, krill populations decrease and the penguins have to migrate from their natural habitat in order to find alternative food sources. This influences their breeding patterns negatively. Now, there's a little animal most people don't immediately think of when it comes to climate change, but has now become one of the biggest threats to our world, which is the honeybee. Just imagine your local grocery store with virtually barren produce section. That's at risk if these bees die, a whopping percentage of our global food supply. According to recent research, bees likely won't be able to adapt to changing climate by shifting their habitat range. Unless we can stabilize or reverse climate change, bees may one day run out of habitat altogether. Pollination is all about timing. Both bees and plants hone in on specific weather cues like snow melt or air temperature to let them know when spring has sprung. What would this mean? Food shortages, population decline, poor pollination rates. It's bad news for both plants and bees. In conclusion, scientists are working endlessly to find ways to stop or even slow down this process. But at this point in time, we're coming up to a point where it may be too late. There are so many things in our way, including this administration, who keep fighting activists at every point. Animals are dying, oceans are rising, and soon the human race will be next in line for the destruction that is called climate change.